Hello everybody, it's Maikito. I will go over the last video's picks at the end. Pretty good day, but I'll get into that later. It's a pretty good slate tomorrow. I didn't expect there to be that many games because it was going to be a Tuesday, but there's a couple LaLiga games. There's some EFL Cup games that I could also talk about, and there's also a couple Champions League qualification games. So there were a couple picks that I did like, so I'll just get straight into those. My first pick is Dominic Graves to go higher than 2.5 saves, playing at home for Mallorca, going up against Sevilla. He's gone over this mark in both games so far this season. He had 5 at home versus Real Madrid, and he had 4 away against Osasuna. Sevilla opposing keepers that they faced against have gone over in both games so far this season. Las Palmas keeper had 4 when Sevilla played away, and then when they played at home against Villarreal, that keeper had 6. So they've gone way over this mark, and the reason why I just believe this mark is at 2.5 and not like at 3, for example, is because Mallorca does play better defensively at home, but I feel like they're underestimating underestimating Sevilla's attack, and 2, overestimating Mallorca's defense. Whenever they play good defensively at home, it was mainly because they would play some type of 5-back instead of like a 4-back. But they've been playing as a 4-back in both games, and that's what I expect them to play again in this next game. And if that's the case, Sevilla will find space to exploit and have Grave get those saves. And it's just gonna take, even if in that 4-back, they're still gonna have to break through that Mallorca defense. So this game is gonna be low scoring. So it's not like gonna be some type of blowout where Sevilla will take the lead early and then they just won't shoot for the rest of the game. No, it's gonna take them a while to score. So there's gonna be plenty of chances for Grave to get these opportunities. They have Ocampos and Luca Baggio, 2 wingers that can create their own spaces and make space for the striker, whether it's Romero or Iganacho. They're going to have good chances to find those spaces in attack. And Mallorca's weakness is defending skillers and wingers, so that's just good for Ocampos and for Luca Baggio. And Grief in both of these games so far this season has saved 81.9% of the saves, which is really good. He didn't get any opportunities really last season, but in these first 2 games he's shown that he's a great keeper. He's 6'6", which is really tall, so he has a large wingspan and he can cover a lot of ground. So I think I like this mark, Dominic Graves, to go higher than 2.5 saves. My next prop on the opposite side for Sevilla, it is Saul Niguez to go higher than 0.5 shots away for Sevilla going up against Mallorca. We just need to take 1 shot in the 1 game that he played. He didn't play in the first game. He did play in the second game. He went over with 4 at home against Villarreal. We just need him to take 1. He plays as one of the 3 midfielders in the 4-3-3, and he's next to 2 defensive midfielders with Agume and Sanchez. So he's the one that plays higher up. He's the playmaker. He's the attacking threat up top. So he does play with 2 midfielders in the 3 midfielder formation. He's the one that goes up to attack, which is good for us. And when you look, he played a lot off the bench half of his games last season. But if you look at how what he averaged per 90, he averaged 1.06 shots per 90 last season, and in the season before that he averaged 1.71 shots per 90 as well. So it's not like he doesn't shoot or just doesn't shoot at all or anything. And then Mallorca allowed 13 shots to Madrid and 15 shots to Osasuna, so still pretty good amount of shots that they allowed, even against Osasuna, who's not that good of an attacking team. They gave them 15. So now Sevilla, I expect them to take around the same 12 to 15 shots or something like that, and I like that Saul will take at least one of them from the midfield, whether it's a long shot inside the box. He played full 90 minutes last game, so like I said, that's why I was showing the per 90 stats. So if he does play the full game again, I expect him to take at least 1 shot, and he wins 95% of his aerial duels, which is extremely good. You won't ever really find anybody that high of a mark. He's 6 foot tall, so he's just good athletically to win those headers. And in the 4 shots that he took last game, 2 were headers, 2 were with his left. And then last season, when he played half of his games off the bench, he took 6 shots with his left, 5 with his right, and then 5 of those were headers. So he will literally shoot with whatever opportunities he is given. He's very versatile. So I think 0.5 is too low of a mark for him. I like Saul Niguez to go higher than 0.5 shots. My next prop is Lamine Yamal to go higher than 1.5 shots, playing away from home for Barcelona, going up against Vallecano. I know on PrizePicks he's at 2.0. You can't take the bump if you want to. I mean, for him to go higher than 1.5, he would get at least 2. So he for sure gets the push. So you can take that if you want to. He's gone over in both games so far this season. He had 4 away from home against Valencia, who is a good defensive team, and then he had 2 at home against Athletic Club, a good defensive team. So I don't see why he can't get this against Vallecano. He played him twice last season and went over in both of those games as well. He had 2 at home and he had 3 away against them. So he's gone over in both games. He's gone over in both games against them last season. Again, I see no reason why he can't take those 2 shots again. He's a great dribbler. He can create his own chances, and he's a long shot taker as well. So he's not afraid to take those shots, whether they're outside the box or right inside the box, or if he finds a space down the wing and he goes into the box and takes them himself. 37 shots were from inside the box and 21 were from outside the box last season. So again, he'll shoot from wherever he's given opportunity. He averaged 2.38 shots per 90. Last season in the league, and then in the Euros, which was just this summer, he averaged 3.2 in that tournament, and now he's playing against Vallecano, who it's not like they're not a better defense than Valencia, they're not a better defense than Athletic Club. So again, I think you're getting good value taking him at 1.5. He can, and not only can he make his own opportunities, he's also going to be getting he gets good service from whether it's Rafinha, Lewandowski, Pedri, doesn't matter who it is, Koundé. He'll get the passes regardless, or if not, he can always make it himself. Vallecano allowed 11 shots to Sociedad and 12 shots to Getafe, and now they're playing a better attack in Barcelona. They're an average defense. Again, I don't see why he can't do this. I like Emilia Mancha to go higher than 1.5 shots. My last player prop is Mauro Icardi to go higher in 3 shots. Playing at home for Galatasaray, going up against Young Boys. This is the Champions League qualification. He had 3 shots away, 2 Young Boys and a 3-2 loss. So now they're playing at home, where it's a must-win game if they want to qualify to the Champions League. Again, he already had 3 against them away, and now that they're desperate and need to win, I don't see why he can't go over this mark as well. He's a great player. He's played 1 home game so far this season in the league, and he went over with 5. He averaged 3.5 shots per 90 in general last season, and when you look at how he took his shots, he took 59 with his right, 39 of those were headers, and then 12 were with his left foot. So he's also a pretty good aerial presence. That's why I believe he wins around 50 to 60% of his aerial duels. And he gets great service as well, whether it's Mertens, Koglu, Yilmaz, Torreira, Hakim Ziyech. He gets great passes from great players, and they're going to be looking for him. He's their main man up top to try to come back against this Young Boys side. Like I said, he already took 3 against them away. Now he's playing at home where they're desperate to win. I like Mauro Icardi to go higher than 3 shots. Before I get into the money line picks, I do have the YouTube membership for those that are interested. It's for those that want to get the picks out early, try to avoid potential bumps and plays getting taken away. It's also a great way to support the channel if you want to do that. And then I also want to give a quick shout out to my partner Underdog Fantasy. You can use code Maikito in the description. They'll match your first deposit up to $100. I also have my PrizePicks, my Fliff, and my Cashapp linked if you ever want to use one of those. And I really appreciate anybody who supports me in any way. My first money line play is under 1.5 goals for the first half in the Galatasaray and Young Boys game. I just think you're getting good value for 1.5 first half mark. Most games that you go to, doesn't matter what type of game it is, this is usually at like minus 200, minus 300 or something like that. And I think minus 140 is good value that you're getting here for this game. I do understand that it was a high scoring game, and in general both teams are high scoring, but Young Boys took the lead in the first game. They won 3-2, and I expect them to play defensively because they know Galatasaray can't score. They were just unlucky and not in their complete form last game, and they were still able to score 2 on them. So I expect Young Boys to be defensive in this game, and in the first half when they're full of energy, it's going to be tough for Galatasaray to break through their defense. And I don't expect Young Boys to score in this first half. There's no reason for them to go all out in the first half. Maybe in the second half, sure, but not in the first half. And Galatasaray, I do not think they will score 2 in the first half. They could score 1 because they are a good attacking team, but I do not see them scoring 2. I could easily see this being a 0-0 half where nobody scores in general, just because Young Boys is going to be defensive and Galatasaray could struggle to break through a Young Boys defense. And Galatasaray also can't just be overly offensive in the first half and allow Young Boys to score a goal in that first half and then be 2 goals down going into halftime. So, and honestly, I just think this is a good call. I do understand that it's high scoring, but for the stakes, both teams can't risk being too risky, and I just like this mark. I like under 1.5 goals for the first half in the Galatasaray Young Boys game. Oh, and before I get into the next pick, I know I forget as well, and people tell me to add where to find them. If you look under the pick, you should be able to see them now. They should be there now, but the first one was in the UEFA Champions League. The second one is in the EFL Cup, and that's the Watford money line against Plymouth. Watford has won all 4 games that they've played so far this season, 3 of those being at home, and in those games they won 2-1, 3-0, and 5-0. That 5-0 being in the Cup against MK Dons, so they're in great form. They've been doing good this season. And Plymouth, in both league games that they've played this season, they have tied both of them. They haven't won, and then they did win their cup game, which is why they're here. But they first of all they played at home. Now they're playing away, and in that game where they won 3-0 against Cheltenham. And Cheltenham is a team that was in League One, and this season they're relegated to League Two, and that's the 4th division in England in general. So they had an easy matchup, and now they're going up against a much tougher matchup away from home against Watford, who's been in form and has been doing really good so far this season. Plymouth in general were the 3rd worst away team last season in the league. They conceded 35 and only scored 18 in 23 games. So they were bad defensively, and they struggled to score and weren't that good offensively. While Watford, they also weren't as good defensively at home, but they did score 32 goals in 23 games. So they were able to find the back of the net when they played at home. And those defensive struggles that they had at home last season don't seem to be affecting them now. In the 3 games that they've played at home, they have only conceded 1 goal, so that's good. And I just think this is a good mark for Watford. I think you get good value as well. So I like the Watford money line against Plymouth. My last player prop is Sevilla to win or draw against Mallorca, playing away from home. In the 2 games that they played so far this season, they drew 1, and in the other one they lost, and that was a last-minute goal to Villarreal. And the game that they tied was against Las Palmas. And I just think because Sevilla didn't get the results in the first 2 games, that you're getting good value here, and they're underestimating how good Sevilla is. They won 2-1 at home against Mallorca last season, and when they played away, they won 1-0, but that was due to a man-of-the-match performance from the Mallorca keeper, who had 5 saves, in which Sevilla were projected to score 2 goals. But that keeper was Rakovic, and he has moved on to the Saudi league. So while Grafe is a good keeper, he's not as good as Rakovic, so he's not going to be there to save them this time. And last season at home, Mallorca only won 6 out of 19 games at home, scoring 17 and conceding 16. So they were a low-scoring team. They didn't concede much, and we just need Sevilla to not lose. And if Mallorca can score, Sevilla can score. I believe Sevilla have scored in both games so far this season, so it's not like they can't. And Sevilla, they won or drew 10 out of 19 away games away from home in the league. So still a pretty good hit rate for an away team in general. They scored 21 and conceded 27. So again, they can score. It's just whether they concede. And Mallorca are not like a great offensive side in general. And then Sevilla have a good front line with Ocampos, Luque Bacchio, and whether it's Romero and Iheanacho up top. I think you're getting good value here. I know the results don't show it, but Sevilla is a good squad that I feel like they're underestimating. So like Sevilla to win or draw against Mallorca. Thank you everybody for watching. Quickly going over last video's picks. Moneyline swept those 2-0. Villarreal higher than 1.5 hit, and then the first half in the Cagliari Como game to have at least 1 goal. That one hit with like 2 minutes ago, so that was a sweat. So that was good for us. Our only 2 misses was that Piccoli Lavumbo striker duo partnership that I was talking about, where I said either one or both will hit. But Como just played really good defensively, much better than what I thought. Both of them hooked. Lavumbo had 1, Piccoli had 2, so it was just unfortunate that they couldn't get that with just 1 more shot. But with the plays from the YouTube and the added plays, Suslov, I had 2 for him, higher on passes and then lower on fouls drawn. Both of those hit. And then I had Oscar added play as well to go higher on tackles, that hit as well. And then the other ones was Villar, which was pretty much Villarreal to score 2, hit as well. And then Moreno to go higher in 2 shots. He hit that at halftime, and he got subbed out at halftime. So lucky for us, he hit within the first half. But I knew the defensive matchup was there, so could have easily been a sweep day. Just I guess maybe I underestimated Como's defense in general. But it was a good day, great day. It was a 7-2 day in general. So hopefully we can carry on that momentum to tomorrow's games. So if you could like the video, comment as well, subscribe, turn on notifications so you're notified when all these videos are out. But other than that, I hope everybody has a good day, a good night, and we can cash out tomorrow.